We get to work with over 35,000 startups around the world, and there are pockets of excellence everywhere. It is a pleasure of my life to be able to do this. We captivate the hearts and minds of startups.
Sometimes there's this misconception that, well, it starts from the top, and from the top down, they tell us where the future's going. And it's not, right? One of the things that I think we were very passionate about was having the voice of the community.
I have the unique gift that my 13-year-old daughter teaches me quite a bit about AI.
Welcome back to the Future Human Experience podcast. I am your host, Eric Rodriguez. I am so excited for this upcoming episode with the Vice President of NVIDIA, Howard Wright. Welcome, Howard, to the Future Human Experience.
Erod, how are you? Can I call you Erod, or to officially call you Eric Rodriguez?
Absolutely, my friend.
Okay.
You call me Erod. So one of the things that the audience probably just finding out now, or maybe some of our listeners that have been with me on this journey, they know we go back several years. Now, almost 10.
Yeah.
Probably, we met probably 10 years ago. Howard, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you and your work is that you authentically lead with a mission, with purpose. We have opportunity to connect and intel with that, and seeing not only your career and the impact that you've made not only in that company, but since then has been inspiration for me, has been inspiration for a lot of individuals that I'm sure are listening to our conversation today. So first off, just want to say thank you for all those seeds that you planted a decade ago in me that I hope I'm honoring in the work that I get to do today.
That's very kind of you, Eric.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So Howard, with that said, today you're Vice President of NVIDIA. Tell us a little bit more about the role that you get to do.
Sure.
I'm really excited for the audience to learn a little bit more about not only you and your journey, but more importantly, the impact they get to make every single day in the work that you do.
Sure. Official title is Vice President, Startup Ecosystem.
Okay.
And what that really means is we get to work with the best startups in the world, the best VCs in the world, the best universities in the world, and the best researchers in the world. NVIDIA for Startups, also known as Inception. It is a pleasure of my life to be able to do this. We captivate the hearts and minds of those startups, and eventually they become customers for NVIDIA that become kind of single name customers and unicorns that occupy the tech space that you would know very well.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more, Howard. I mean, because when I heard that you were taking this role on, I was like, oh my God, that fits Howard. It's so great for you, right? Because there's this idea that when we talk about innovation, when we talk about how the future is being built today, sometimes there's this misconception that, well, it starts from the top, and from the top down, they tell us where the future's going. And it's not, right? One of the things that I think we were very passionate about was having the voice of the community, having the voice of the users, understanding each other's challenges, so not only we can empower them, but they could feel empowered to build something. That's
correct.
Really the cornerstone of the work that you get to do today?
That is, we work with everyone from the proverbial four kids in a garage somewhere to the researchers that are leaving Stanford, Cal, DeepMind, any one of the mega tech companies. The common denominator becomes this audacious belief in self. They have a product or a suite of products that are highly disruptive, that need to be accelerated. Their compute needs to be accelerated, and they need access to funding. They need access to go-to-market resources. Sometimes they need access to, we need help with your cap table. Happy to do that for you as well. So embracing these startups every single day, Eric, is more exciting than the day before.
Wow.
Because every single day, there's some kid with more degrees than I'll ever have, and more money in seed funding that I'll ever see in my life, intending to do something with respect to AI that is going to be accretive to our world. So healthcare, life science, or robotics, or autonomous, or quantum, or fusion, everything is going to be improved, or everything is going to be disintermediated. And we're seeing these kids at these earliest stages dare greatly. They're not going for singles and doubles. These are grand slams of startups that are doing things, and we're helping them. And we'd like to think that we're helping them on this hero's journey of theirs.
Wow. And Howard, as the vice president of NVIDIA, you get to not only connect with these startups
Yeah.
here in the United States, but this is at the global
Yeah.
level. I mean, you're going around the world. Tell us a little bit more about that experience, about going around the world, experiencing these startups.
Eric, I'm the luckiest guy that you'll ever meet. And part of this is we get to work with over 35,000 startups around the world, and there are pockets of excellence everywhere. Unlike other past verticals, whether it's, I don't know, crypto or Web3 or telecommunications or the internet, the same resources are available for a child in Sao Paulo as they are on Stanford's campus. I don't have a PhD in CS from Stanford University, but I can prompt the same way with the models that those PhDs and multiple PhDs do. So we hope this becomes a great equalizer. If we remember anything about other technology transitions, there's always a digital divide.
Yeah.
If we do this right, there is no digital divide. It is AI for all, AI for good. Everybody has equal access at the same time, whether you are Jensen or you are a seventh grader in East Palo Alto.
Wow, wow. So absolutely, I mean, the future is very possible that it will be much more human, much more community-centered, much more available for others.
Right.
Howard, with that said, of course, we'll dive back into the work that you get to do every single day, but you just said something that you told me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've also seen you say this on stage before, which is you're the luckiest man alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that perspective. You carry yourself that way. You lead that way. You inspire others that way. But where does that come from, Howard? Where does that come, that mindset of believing that you're one of the most fortunate individuals on this planet today?
Radical gratitude is something that was instilled in us when we were very young. I think there's some books about it out there now on how you attack the day, or do you let the day attack you? We are in the greatest opportunity ever for startups and VCs. There are more VC funding in 2025 than any year prior. If you have a great idea, we will come find you or you will come find us. And it is democratizing access to that compute, to that cash, to that collaboration that is so intoxicating for us. I know I work hard, but there are many folks at the company that have infinitely a higher title than I have, more cash than I'll ever be able to spend in my life, and outwork me. And so one of the things I think about is this is our time to share these digital riches with those who are fortunate and those who are not as fortunate. And I get to do that, Erod. What am I going to do? Lay in bed and watch soap operas? Yeah. This is fun. Our team is built with kind of a compilation of former C-suite startup founders and some VC folks. So we have a very specific empathy for what these founders have to do. And they have to have almost irrational exuberance every single day. Every line of code they write, every slide in every presentation that they have, as they go in and pitch their investors or their board. It is a high risk, high reward journey. And if we could be accretive to them just a little bit, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And that's where we get hopefully our servant leadership mentality.
Howard, do you think now, looking back at your career and looking forward to, as you have an opportunity to mentor, sponsor, and support the next generation, do you think that mindset of being incredibly grateful is a critical power that we need, or a critical skill set that we need as we're entering this 21st century that is going to be much more digitized, but also much more democratized?
Yeah, I think we all need to become more human for sure. It is stolen / plagiarized from some mentors, bosses, advisors that I've had in my life. And I've seen that they've always been authentic leaders. Authentic as in getting to the office early, staying late, being there, being an active listener, being able to communicate with one another. I'm not selling our startups anything. It's free to join our program. We're giving away access to our technologies and to our software and to our hardware and our compute. And we get paid, capital in NVIDIA gets paid. On the long end, these companies become unicorns and decacorns, and they consume a lot of GPUs. So we're playing the long game.
Yeah. And sometimes I think today, in this era of headlines, in this era of you're seeing an open claw headline today, something else tomorrow, we could get enamored with that. And that's really the short-term game. There's value in that.
That's right.
But what you're saying, what you're suggesting is the folks that we decide to invest in the long term, or how we partner in the long term, is going to win out in this era.
That's right. And this is different from any other era, if I can come back, which is, it's not the internet, it's not the web, it's not telecom. This is the equivalent of electricity being invented. And how many more jobs and verticals were created after electricity was invented. So we're in our fourth industrial revolution, which is the age of AI. Let us clearly take advantage of that. Let us clearly collaborate with the rest of the ecosystem with that, and to everybody's boat will rise. So we take great pride in, we're one of the few Gen AI companies that works with every other Gen AI company. We work with them with respect to our technology, open source, open models, making sure it is not siloed. We're trying to do the right thing, and then where we put our intelligence and where we put our dollars, we invest all the way up and down the stack, from the chip to the capital E energy. We invest in fusion and quantum and healthcare companies all the time. It is the fabric of AI is being built by us and other companies. And our CEO, Jensen, is one of a kind. Never met anybody like him in my entire life.
So tell us a little bit more about that experience, Howard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as an executive at NVIDIA, you have an opportunity now to work with one of the leaders that are really, not only people are getting to know him pop culture, but also he's helping redefine the industry, but also redefine what does the future of work look like? What does the future of certain industries look like? Are there any lessons or any aha moments that you've had of working with him that you're kind of like, oh, wow, like I wish someone else would have known a little bit more about?
Sure. I'll go back to when I was being recruited at NVIDIA. I was at AWS doing a similar job, enjoying myself. And I got a call, hey, Jensen wants to see you at 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. I'm like, okay. I had an hour blocked. I walked into his then office, and Eric, every part of his office was a whiteboard, and on almost every inch of the whiteboard was something written down, either a code name of one of our products or a partnership that we're going to do with one of the CSPs, one of the cloud service providers, or all the code names. And it really was eye-opening to me that in this one office, which is basically a conference room at the time, this man is in active partnership, capital P partnership, with every sovereign nation, everyone that's trying to build a AI factory, folks that are trying to accelerate their computing of their application. It dawned on me very early that this might be the center of the known AI universe for the foreseeable future. And his message was not one of zero-sum gain. It was, let's spread these out. Let's make sure the researchers have them, make sure the universities have them. Let's make sure the kids in East Palo Alto have them. Let's make sure Stanford University professors that are tenured or teaching classes have them, and the VCs that are fluent in it. So up and down the stack, it became very clear that he will go down years from now, decades from now, as the way they talk about Iacocca, the way they talk about Steve Jobs and others, as one of the defining CEOs of our lifetime. And when the book is written, my name won't be anywhere near it, but I'll be able to tell my kids or grandkids, hey, I know that guy. And he works. I have so much respect for his intellect, of course, because you and I have been around smart people all our lives, right? You either have somebody who has a great strategic vision that is 5, 8, 10 years out, or you have a mathematician, academic, or an engineer who can just appreciate and explain the interconnectivity through this product to that product and how they all work and this magic behind the scenes. He has both, and he is relentless. Of all the things that I respect about him, I think it's his stamina.
Wow.
He doesn't have any hobbies. He works 7 days a week, and he is intent on making sure that his legacy and NVIDIA's legacy lives long after him. That's inspiring. And one of the things that he said while I was being recruited was, we want folks to come to NVIDIA to do their life's work. And I had heard someone else say it before, not the way that Jensen said it. And I got goosebumps then. I'm probably getting goosebumps now. And I thought, yeah, okay, now I'm starting to see my career in reverse. Maybe it is preparing me for this moment. And I must have done okay because they offered me a job. And I'm still here. And I'm still trying to lean into this NVIDIA culture, which is the mission is the boss. Extreme collaboration. We don't have business units per se, and that person has a P&L. We're trying to be active participants with each other to galvanize the industry. And there's some other axioms that we follow, but the mission is the boss. And I just try to live up to the example that he sets every day.
Wow. Howard, one of the things as you're sharing the story about Jensen, it reminds me about a story that I have with you that I don't know if you recall this, but when I had opportunity to do the Oakland initiative, it's 10 years ago now, I received a phone call from you and you said, Eric, I'm going to be in Oakland next week. I want to meet with the team. I want to meet with the school district. And I was like, why does Howard want to? And you said, I just want to learn how I could help.
Yeah.
That stuck with me, right? You weren't there to
sell the kids anything.
You weren't there. You were just like, Eric, I just want to be of service. I've learned more about the project. I've learned more about the initiative. And you just took it from that perspective. And I was like, wow, this is a senior leader here that the titles, they come and go, right? But the mission, the purpose, right? You sat down there with us, with the teachers, with superintendent leaders, and you just wanted to listen. You just wanted to listen and be of service. You weren't there to say, this is what we think we should do. You just want to say, hey, what are the biggest challenges? And I think those are experiences not only that brought you to that room there, but I'm sure that leadership muscle that you built 10 years ago on just being or displaying 10 years ago with all of us is that muscle that puts you in these rooms today that are giving, in my opinion, right, giving you an opportunity to bring some of those challenges to life, right? That it was Oakland yesterday, but somewhere else tomorrow. And I'm sure, you're right. Maybe we won't be in all these books, Howard, but I'm sure those marks that you had a chance to leave in Oakland and myself had a chance to leave in Oakland. And these initiatives will be felt for generations to come.
Well, that's very kind of you. And I would love to take credit for it, but I'm really just stealing from mentors that I've had, bosses that I've had. We share some of those same Aisha Evans, Chris Young, Barbara Y. We can go on and on about some of the senior influences that we had at Intel that were authentic leaders that when the going got tough, you knew exactly they were going to stand right in front of the firing line of the whatever needed to be done. And part of this journey is, as I look backwards, I see how many folks helped me at a time when I didn't realize that I needed that help, that push up the ladder, that bridge to be built. And then, of course, when it comes to folks of color, and we've been historically disenfranchised in these areas of technology, always want to lean in to say, okay, the answer is yes, let's figure out when. And I've been inspired by so many. If my presence can inspire one, then it's worth the trip to Oakland or to whatever the next city will be. We have to demystify AI. Now I think about it as a responsibility, Eric,
Yes.
not as a choice, which is, okay, we have these tools. The funding is where it is right now. The opportunity has never been greater. These $100 billion valuation companies are being formed all day, every day. Let's make sure everybody has democratized access to access itself. And Jensen and NVIDIA has allowed me to embrace that as well.
I love that. Howard, with that said, now, not only you are an executive in the tech sector for the last several decades, but also you're a parent of several little ones.
Yeah.
What guidance would you give today to the youth that's trying to navigate this ever-changing 21st century?
Sure. I have the unique gift that my 13-year-old daughter teaches me quite a bit about AI. I experiment either in my personal life or business life, use Gemini, use Claude, use OpenAI, use Perplexity. How I communicate, how I let the day receive me is not when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. These apps are working while I'm sleeping so that when I wake up, I'm already ahead of folks. This is a global job. We have a global team. And by the time I wake up at 5 o'clock, guess what? Folks in Europe are already having lunch and thinking about what they're going to do later that night. So my children, my oldest daughter, who is 32, understands this. She works at a law firm. They experiment with Harvey and a couple other ones, which is fun. My 13-year-old daughter keeps me younger than I really am because this is what the kids are doing. And then we have 5 and 7, and really they're just loud, wonderful, and they go to sleep early, so I go to sleep early, and I'm sure that they're intent on being disruptive positively in this world in some meaningful way. But being an active listener and an active learner, that's probably what I've leaned into more lately, which is I thought the smartest person in the room spoke the most or had all the answers or told everybody what to do. And that is quite the antithesis of my experience, which is when you're given the microphone or you're given the football or you're given the basketball to take your shot, yeah, you need to be concise, you need to be clear, and you need to get off stage. Others, customers, your boss, your critics, even, they will tell you the truth if you listen. And then it's just deciphering signal from noise and getting to the heart of the solution. So we are proximate to all these startups. We like to think we're proximate to their solutions to their problems. And they need not live, 5 minutes from our headquarters. They could be anywhere in the world. And because of the world of high bandwidth engagement that we live in, we are, by default, we are proximate to them.
Yeah. Howard, with that said, as we're entering this era of AI, the fourth industrial revolution, like you shared, the notion of jobs and the continuous change that we're seeing in that, people are living through a lot of these changes.
Yeah.
Do you have any guidance, either from the perspective you've had in your career growth, but also seeing as you're equipping these startups for the future, what should people either been thinking about, focusing on, or thinking differently about?
Okay. One, I would love for folks to experiment. All of this is readily available, and there's a version of all of these models that is free. Second, the paranoia is probably getting pretty loud right now. AI is not going to take your job. Someone who knows how to leverage or mechanize AI, that person might take your job though. So we can upskill, up-level ourselves in our day-to-day work, and we can also be parts of communities, whether it's the VC world, startup world, developer world, researcher world, where you're going to be a answer to someone's question. Now, I don't lean towards the paranoia because we see from inside the mothership at NVIDIA and other Magnificent Seven companies that we get to work with, we know that there's excellence out there all day, every day. And the speed of light, there's another term that we use at NVIDIA, which is the speed of change, the speed of light. How quickly folks are adapting to this new era, learning from it, putting it back into the machine, and then it's 3.4 and 4.2. This is where I believe we have to move quicker than we ever have before. This is unlike, like I mentioned, telecom, internet, Web3, or pick whatever technology change that occurred. We have to be our own researchers using the tools that are readily available. So what we'd like to tell folks is, you can stand on top of giants right now. You can get credits, cloud credits from any of the big cloud providers through us, directly from them. You can get funding if your business model is solid and your C-suite is solid and you have a clean cap table. Now is the time to be disruptive, to be ambitious, to be audacious almost a little bit, because guess what? You can always go back to academia. You can always go back to another 9 to 5. The disruptions that we will see will be horizontal. They just won't be vertical as prior. Okay, this vertical is going to be disintermediated. That's not happening as we witness this with AI. It's wonderful to be a part of it and help to explain to both super nerds in tech and lay people that now is the time to take advantage of it. That's why you've probably seen our CEO. He does far more podcasts. He travels more than anybody I've ever met, whether it's CNBC or Joe Rogan podcast. We're trying to make sure that we're explaining that AI is a force for good, and mechanized and used the right way, it improves all of our lives a little bit, regardless of the vertical that you're in.
Absolutely. And we're entering this era. It sounds like, Howard, what you're suggesting is that we're into this era of, even though I love that the speed of light and the speed of change, it's also creating all these new opportunities that we haven't anticipated, right? And so like that gap between the change and the opportunities, where that work could happen, right? Is where we could thrive, we could explore. But we only get there, like you're saying, if we experiment, if we explore, we try new things. So I love that. Howard, with that said, we'd love to do something really cool on the Future Human Experience podcast. I ask our guests to come up with a surprise question that they have for me. Howard, we've known each other for over a decade now. What question do you have for me today, my friend?
So your 12-year-old and my 13-year-old graduate from college, let's just say 10 years, just to round it out, because they probably go to business school or law school or something like that. 10 years from now, what do you want our children to say about our generation as it relates to AI and the proper use of technology?
Wow.
Mr. Erod.
So I struggle with this a little bit, because I have thought about this, but I haven't thought about from my son's perspective. I thought about from the generations.
Okay.
I have thought about how I actually think about my great-grandchildren a lot. I think about them because they're the ones we're probably not going to meet. And how they're thinking about this era today. And I think about my great-grandmother or my grandmother, and how they instilled in me this passion of lifelong learning. And I think the way I look at this next generation, or the way I look at 10 years from now, is that if we've been able to tap into that and create an optimistic generation that looks forward to change, looks forward to what this could look like, man, that future, I mean, part of the work that I get to do today of building a more human-centered future comes from an optimistic perspective. And part of it is inspired by my children. Part of it is inspired by the father I wanted to be one day before I had kids. And part of it is inspired by people I had a chance to, work with for years. And that's really where my hope is. And I think if I could plant those seeds today, and the work I get to do on that, our generation could be the one that really looked at change from an optimistic perspective, that will go through this fourth industrial revolution to extend our human condition versus versus not, right? Versus saying, okay, it is what it is, and we just have to go with it.
Right.
I do think we have a very unique opportunity, like you
We
said, to
really do.
democratize
Really do.
access. I mean, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's not only awesome to be alive, but like I love what you had said earlier, right? That we get to be one of the most fortunate human beings on the planet today.
Right.
But it comes with responsibility.
That responsibility, we can take our work seriously and not take ourselves seriously.
Mm.
So you and I have talked off camera about, which vertical is going to be disrupted the most or the soonest. And I don't know the answer to that question. I know that there are incredibly smart folks all around the world that now have more access to compute, and more is coming. And you give, I don't know, insatiable learners access to high bandwidth engagement with machines and with AI factories, something good. So we love what we're seeing about the robotics and humanoids. Love what we're seeing about autonomous vehicles and going back to Aisha and what she's doing at Zooks.
Yep.
Love what we're seeing in retail and fintech and a few others. We talked about fusion and quantum that is coming. You're right. I think there's something happening with healthcare that's going to
Yeah.
be here, or I hope that's going to be here before we know it, with respect to creation of new medical devices, new drug discoveries. I don't know who said it, and so I don't know who to give credit to, but the cure for some of these insidious diseases is not going to be in a petri dish. It's going to be in a data center, powered by some of our hardware and some of our software. That's awesome. And so if we can be part of this generation that helped to eradicate some of these incredibly debilitating either childhood diseases or diseases that affect all of our families, and there's some technologists in the middle of that somehow, and that is what, we all wake up very early in the morning to. 1 out of 10, I wake up about 11 or 12 every morning.
That's awesome.
And then there's also some mornings where we have individual meetings or team meetings with Jensen, and you got to stay extra sharp, extra lean in communication. He does not suffer fools lightly, and he wants things done in a very particular way. He is both helping us architect what the future look like, as well as we're active investors all up and down the 5 layers of the AI industrial stack. That part is daunting, it's intimidating, but it's inspirational.
Absolutely.
So then 10 years from now, when our kids those kids are coming out of business school, law school, engineering school, they'll be able to stand on what we've done as a community, as the ecosystem. Man, how much higher could they reach?
Yes, absolutely.
And let's hope that we also make sure that this is not AI for some and not AI for all. So we spend a lot of time thinking about AI for all, the goodwill stories that we tell folks on the Hill in DC, and we tell other sovereign nations around the world, come work with us, or we'll come to you and bring you these digital goods that make your country maybe a little bit safer and a little bit smarter.
Well, Howard, I know I speak on behalf of so many others who've had a chance to only see your journey, see the changes that we're seeing in technology. It is wonderful to see leaders like yourself that are not only passionate about where the future could go, but that you're building a much more human-centered future for all of us. Howard Wright, thank you so much for being part of the Future Human Experience today, my friend.
My man.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I'm inspired to hear that these conversations are resonating within our communities, our organizations, our companies, and our households all around the world. If you found this conversation to be valuable, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else. I do believe that as the future gets much more digitized, it gives us an opportunity to be much more human as well. And these conversations are part of that journey. So if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please check out these videos. Thank you.